Good morning. I'm joined with Dovid. He's going to help me with the Shaar. Joined by Dovid. Okay, today is the 28th of Sivan. Koya, Sivan, right? The day that the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin came to America. So it's a special day. Today is also July 4th. Good Yontif. We're on page 70 in the Hayichud in the Tanya. Today's lesson, potentially the source of the creative force that could generate limitless outcomes, but was contracted to be channeled via 10 general utterances channels, each subdividing into myriads of combinations. The source of the life force, we talked about how Hashem contracts his great, powerful, godly life force into each individual thing throughout the entire universe. Some things are huge. They may need a stronger godly energy. Some things are tiny. They may need to be contracted even more. They become enclosed in the 10 utterances of the Torah from which all created beings come into existence. Ruach piv yisparech, hayochel lispashet, le'ein kates v'tachlis, livrei oilamois, ein kates v'tachlis, le'kamusam, ve'chusam, le'chayosam adeyad. The breath of Hashem's mouth could have diffused without end and without limit and created worlds infinite in their quality and quantity and given them life forever, unlike the present state, in which everything is so limited. And in this world, all of those beings are limited and finite. All of those beings are limited and finite, would not have been created at all. It was the contraction of life. If there was no contraction, there would be limitless life in every respect. But because of the contraction of the life force that made possible the creation of this physical world with its finite creatures, the reason why the breath of his mouth, were it not to have been contracted, would have created worlds without end, is now explained by the Alter Rebbe in parentheses. So again, if Hashem would not have contracted his light, we would all live forever. The world would exist. It would just be a completely different existence. But since Hashem contracted the divine energy that gives life to the world, so there's limits to everything in the world. Some things take longer, some things take shorter.
If you didn't contract this light, would we exist at all?
Would we exist at all? It would be a different. It would be a different existence. It would be like the ray in the sun, right? Just as Hashem is called infinite, so too Hashem's attributes and actions are also infinite. For he and his attributes are one. You don't say, "Oh, I decided today I'm going to shul, but my arm is going to stay home." It doesn't work like that. Whatever extent your attitude, your desires, your feelings, your senses, they all come with you. I know. Meaning, the life force that emanates from Hashem's attributes, which is some of them are chesed, kindness, mercy, and others, through their being clothed in the quote-unquote breath of his mouth, which refers to the sphere of Malchus. Kihu Amar V'yehi. The creation results from Hashem's speech, for he spoke and it came into being. But Olam al Yidei Chesed Yibane. The creation of the world came about through Chesed. The world is built through Chesed. Olam Chesed Yibane. But how is it that the world is created through Chesed and Malchus? This means the attribute of Chesed vests itself within Malchus. B'dvar Hashem v'ruach piv shenasa kli ulevush lechesed zeh. Creation takes place through the word of Hashem and the breath of his mouth, which becomes a vessel, a garment for this creative attribute of Chesed. Yehodein kamsa dilevushe minei uve, like the snail, whose garment is an integral component of his body. Could it exist without it? Maybe. But everyone knows that a snail has a shell, a turtle has a shell, a lion has a mane, a giraffe has a long neck. It's a part of it. Did it have to have it? No, but it's part of it. I don't know if the other two are the best examples, but here you have like The shell seems like an external part of it, but it's still very much a part of it. Ella. So the word of his mouth is thus a garment and a vessel that unites with the attribute of chesed from which the world was created. The life force emanating from the breath of Hashem's mouth is capable of creating worlds which are infinitely both qualitatively and quantitatively. Are infinite. Ella. Hashem, it sounds same, but Hashem decided to contract his light. In order to be able to utter these words and create this world and all the creations. And invest this contracted light in the combination of letters of the Lashon HaKodesh, of the 10 utterances, and the combination of their combinations. The chilufei usmurais va'oseis atzmon v'cheshboinam umisparon. From the combinations, then we have substitutions and transpositions, which indicate the degree and the descent of light and life force, degree by degree. The hainu sheyuchal livrei lachiyos peruim madregos echusom amailos hi psucha. I'm sorry, pchusom madregos echusom maila habruim hanivroim ha'oisios v'tevas atzman basar mamoris. So again, each substitute and transpose and transposition indicates a degree of light, the descent of light force degree, meaning the contractions get tighter and smaller and smaller and smaller, so that it will be able to create and give life to creatures whose quality and significance is lower than the quality and significance of the creatures created from the very letters and words of the 10 utterances, which is a much higher level. Within which is enclosed the Holy One, blessed be He, in His glory and His essence. That's the higher level of the utterances of Hashem. That's the essence of the Blessed Eitzayif, which are His attributes, since they are one with Hashem Himself. The takeaway for today is God's words, and when we say words, they're in quotation marks, literally take on a life of their own. So different than our words. Hashem's words are made up of Lashon HaKodesh, the Hebrew alphabet, which make up the utterances of creation, as described in the Torah. And then these words become the life force of all beings. So we have the 10 utterances, and from there, we interplay all the different letters. Hashem transposes creates all the different sirufim, the different combinations, the numerical values, etc., until every single thing is given its ability to hold the light of Hashem, even if it's contracted so much, giving it the ability to exist and to thrive. Right? So, happy birthday, Dovid. Hashem gave you the power to exist and to be alive and to make a difference in the world, right? And to give others brachas today on your birthday. So make sure to give everyone a good bracha today, okay? All right, everyone, have a wonderful day and happy 4th of July.